All right, so you're diving deep into AI, and you're smart enough to know it's not all sunshine and roses, right?
Mhm.
You want the long game. The secrets to making AI work for you, even when the tech world's already moved on to the next big thing.
And that's where this AI model Lifeline report from Cognition Info gets really interesting.
Oh, yeah, this is a good one.
They're tackling this unglamorous but so crucial challenge of keeping those AI engines humming once the initial excitement of the build is done, you know.
It's like you wouldn't just park a brand new car in the garage and expect it to be in pristine condition years later.
Great, exactly. And this report highlights something even more subtle.
Okay.
Even seemingly stable data can drift and lead to this unexpected model decay. It's like the ground that your house is built on shifting.
Mm.
You might not notice it at first, but over time, cracks start to appear.
So it's not just those major changes we need to worry about, but these subtle shifts that can sneak up on you.
Precisely. Imagine a financial forecasting model that was trained on pre-pandemic data.
Oh,
The economic landscape has shifted
yeah.
so dramatically
Yeah.
that models' predictions could be wildly off if you don't make adjustments. That's concept drift in action. The relationship between the data and the outcomes you're predicting, they fundamentally changed.
This report throws out a pretty staggering statistic. 85% of AI models degrade within just 6 months.
If they're not properly cared for, yeah.
That's a ticking time bomb for anyone relying on AI.
And the consequences go way beyond just technical glitches. Think about financial losses.
Yeah.
The report actually mentions a 24% reduction in business value
Yeah.
just from these neglected models.
Wow. So that could be like missing out on investment opportunities
Yeah.
because your AI is giving you outdated market predictions.
Yeah, exactly.
Ouch, that's gotta hurt. And I bet it also erodes trust, right? Like if your AI keeps messing up, people are going to be less likely to rely on it for those big decisions.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, imagine a company using AI for medical diagnoses.
High stakes.
If that model degrades and starts making inaccurate predictions, it's not just a financial hit. It's a matter of patient safety and public trust in AI as a whole.
This is making me realize that AI maintenance isn't just a tech issue, it's a core business strategy and even like an ethical consideration.
Exactly. And yet, so many companies struggle with it. And this report dives into the reasons why, outlining 3 common failure patterns that lead to this AI neglect.
Okay, so let's unpack those. What's the first way companies drop the ball?
The first is what they call reactive maintenance, which basically means waiting for things to break before you fix them.
Kind of like ignoring that check engine light until your car stalls out on the highway.
Precisely. It's like playing whack-a-mole with problems.
Right.
You're constantly putting out fires instead of preventing them in the first place.
So what's failure pattern number 2?
Inadequate lifecycle planning. It's like building a skyscraper without even considering the future maintenance needs.
Oh, wow.
You might get it standing, but it won't be sustainable in the long run.
So it's not just about building the AI, it's about having a plan for its entire lifespan, almost like an AI retirement plan.
That's a great way to put it. You need to consider how the AI will evolve, how data sources might change, and how you'll transition to new models as the old ones become obsolete.
All right, on to failure pattern number 3, technical debt.
Ooh, yes.
This one sounds like a financial nightmare.
It can be. Think of it like this. You keep patching up small problems in your code or your data pipelines instead of addressing that root cause.
Uh-huh.
Over time, those quick fixes, they create this tangled mess. And it makes it harder and harder to make any meaningful updates or improvements to your AI.
So instead of fixing that leaky faucet, you just keep putting a bucket underneath it. Eventually, you're going to have a flooded basement.
Exactly. That technical debt can accumulate and cripple your ability to keep your AI models performing well, leading to even bigger problems down the line.
Okay, so we've covered the WHY, right? Why models degrade and why ignoring it is a recipe for disaster. But what about the HOW? What can companies actually do to keep those AI engines running smoothly?
Thankfully, the AI Model Lifeline report provides a framework for tackling this challenge. They break it down into 4 key pillars of model maintenance.
All right, let's dive into those. What's the first pillar we need to build?
Model monitoring.
Okay.
Sounds straightforward, but it's more than just glancing at performance metrics every now and then. The report really emphasizes the importance of what they call business impact monitoring.
Okay, so it's not just about whether the AI is technically sound, but whether it's actually delivering on its intended business goal.
Exactly. For instance, if you have an AI recommending products to customers,
Uh-huh.
It's not just about how many clicks those recommendations get, but whether those clicks translate into actual purchases.
So we need to connect the AI's performance to real-world outcomes, not just those abstract metrics. What's the second pillar in this framework?
Retraining.
Yeah.
It's basically recognizing that even the best AI models, they need like a refresher course every now and then.
Makes sense. The world's constantly changing, so our AI needs to adapt with it, right?
Yeah.
But how often are we talking about retraining? Is there some rule of thumb?
It really depends on a lot of factors.
Yeah.
But this report highlights this really intriguing approach called the champion-challenger method.
Ooh, that sounds intense, like a battle royale for AI supremacy. How does that work?
Okay, so picture this. You have your main AI model, your champion, and it's out there doing its thing in the real world, making decisions. But at the same time, you're training a challenger model on newer data, the latest and greatest information.
So it's like the understudy, waiting in the wings, ready to take center stage.
Exactly. And then at regular intervals, you put them head to head. You test both the champion and the challenger on the same tasks, the same data, and see who comes out on top.
Oh, interesting. So if that challenger model is consistently outperforming the old veteran, it gets promoted to the main event. That's a pretty clever way to ensure your AI is always using the most effective approach.
It's more than just clever. It's essential. Us humans, even the best data scientists, we can get attached to the models we've built.
Right.
This approach, it forces us to be objective. The data decides who's the best fit for the job, no matter who built what.
But wouldn't training up a whole new challenger model be incredibly resource intensive? It sounds like you're almost doing double the work.
It's definitely an investment, but the report really argues that the payoff is pretty massive. Think about the cost of a degraded AI. Bad decisions, missed opportunities, even damage to your reputation.
Yeah, that's true.
Compared to that, retraining might actually seem like a bargain.
That's a good point. It's like preventative maintenance for your AI. Spend a little bit now to avoid a much bigger headache later.
Precisely. Okay, ready for pillar number 3?
Get me.
Lifecycle management. This one is all about taking a holistic view of your AI models.
Yeah.
Like throughout our entire lifespan.
Okay.
It's like planning for your car, right? You buy a car, eventually it's going to need new tires, oil change, maybe even a whole new engine at some point.
All right.
It's not just about that initial purchase.
So you're saying even AI models have a use-by date?
Yeah.
Like even the most advanced algorithm will eventually need to be replaced or something?
Not necessarily replaced entirely, but definitely adapted. The report actually calls this retirement and succession planning for your AI models.
Okay, so less of a gold watch and more of a strategic handover. But seriously, how do you actually prepare an AI for retirement? It's not like you can send it off to, a beach in Florida or something.
It's more about knowledge transfer.
Yeah.
How do you capture all those insights that the old model has learned and make sure those are carried forward? How do you train up that new model, the successor, so it can pick up where the old one left off?
And I imagine there's a human element to this too, right? Like getting buy-in from all the teams who rely on this AI, making sure the transition is smooth and doesn't disrupt anyone's workflow.
Absolutely. AI doesn't operate in a vacuum, right?
Yeah.
It impacts people, processes, entire organizations.
Yeah.
Managing that human side is just as important as those technical aspects.
This is really highlighting how AI management goes way beyond just the code. It's about strategic thinking, anticipating change, and even just managing expectations.
It's almost like being a conductor, right?
Yeah.
Making sure all these different instruments, data, algorithms, human expertise are working together in harmony.
I like that. And that brings us to the fourth and final pillar of this framework. Operational excellence. This is where the rubber meets the road, right?
Yeah.
Making sure the AI has all the resources it needs to really thrive.
It's more than just resources. It's about building a whole culture of excellence around your AI initiatives.
Yeah.
This report really digs into the importance of what they call the data pipeline.
Yeah, we talked about that a bit earlier, right? That idea that your AI is only as good as the data it's being fed. Garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. Think of the data pipeline as like the digestive system of your AI.
Okay.
If it's clogged with bad data, inconsistent formatting, errors and inconsistencies, your AI is going to get sick, no matter how brilliant the algorithm is.
So even if you have the most cutting-edge AI model in the world, if the data going in is bad, the results coming out are going to be bad too.
It's a harsh truth, but it's something that a lot of companies overlook. They get so focused on building those fancy models, but they neglect that less glamorous work of data cleaning, validation, and governance.
It's like building a state-of-the-art kitchen and then stocking it with like spoiled ingredients, no matter how talented the chef is.
That's such a good analogy,
Sure.
and it highlights why this pillar is so crucial. Operational excellence is all about setting the stage for your AI to succeed.
Yeah.
It's about having those robust processes, clear documentation, and a team-wide commitment to data quality.
So it's not just about the data scientists. It's about everyone who touches the data playing their part.
Exactly. Building and maintaining a high-performing AI, it's a team sport.
Right.
You need that collaboration between data scientists, engineers, business analysts, even legal and compliance teams to make sure the entire system is running smoothly.
I'm seeing a pattern here. Each of these pillars, they kind of reinforce each other, right?
Yeah.
Monitoring helps you spot data issues. Retraining helps you adapt to changing data. Lifecycle management helps you transition to better data pipelines. And operational excellence, well, that just makes sure the whole thing runs smoothly.
You're totally right. These four pillars, they all work together. They create this robust and sustainable AI ecosystem. They're not just these individual tasks, they're these interconnected principles, and they should really be guiding every aspect of your AI initiatives.
Okay, so we've covered the four pillars of this AI Model Lifeline framework, but the report doesn't just drop the mic there, right? They also kind of tease some even more advanced strategies for taking your AI game to the next level.
Oh, you know it. This is where things get really, really interesting. We're talking about concepts like AI explainability, automated optimization, and even the unique challenges of maintaining AI in specific domains, like, computer vision and natural language processing.
Okay, hold on. Those sound like topics worthy of their own deep dives.
Definitely.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's break those down just one by one. What exactly is AI explainability?
Imagine you're using AI for, say, loan approvals.
Okay.
It's not enough to just get a yes or no answer from the AI.
Right.
You need to understand why the AI made that decision. Was it based on the applicant's credit score, their income, their employment history? Explainability is about making the AI's reasoning transparent and understandable to us humans.
So it's like having the AI show its work, not just give you the final answer. I can definitely see how that would be incredibly valuable, especially in fields like healthcare or finance, where that trust and transparency are so important.
Precisely. And it goes beyond just trust, too. Understanding why an AI made a particular decision can actually help you identify potential biases, debug errors, and even gain new insights into your data.
It's almost like having a conversation with the AI, trying to understand its thought process.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about automated optimization? That sounds like something straight out of like a sci-fi movie.
It might sound futuristic, but it's actually becoming more and more common these days. Think of it like this. You have a self-tuning engine in your car, constantly adjusting itself for optimal performance.
Right.
Automated optimization is about applying that same principle to your AI models.
So the AI is basically learning and improving itself without any human intervention.
That's the goal. Techniques like AutoML and reinforcement learning, they allow the AI to continuously tweak its own parameters, its algorithms, even its architecture, to just squeeze out every little bit of performance.
So it's like having a self-driving car that also knows how to upgrade its own software and fix its own engine.
It's a powerful concept, and it's already having a huge impact in fields like digital marketing and online advertising.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, with any powerful technology, there are always ethical considerations.
Right. If the AI is making all these decisions on its own, how do we ensure it's still aligned with human values and goals? That's a whole other deep dive we could explore.
Oh, really?
But for now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about those domain-specific challenges you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. So the report touches on how maintaining AI in certain specific domains like computer vision or natural language processing, it comes with its own unique set of hurdles.
Right.
Imagine you're using AI for facial recognition, for example.
Okay.
As camera technology evolves and new image processing techniques emerge, your AI needs to keep up, right?
Makes sense.
Otherwise, its accuracy is going to suffer.
Or think about an AI that's analyzing customer sentiment from social media posts. The way people express themselves online is constantly changing. You have new slang, new emojis, internet memes popping up all the time. An AI that doesn't adapt to those changes, it's going to quickly become outdated and irrelevant.
You're hitting on such a crucial point there. The context in which your AI operates, it's just as important as the technology itself. Whether it's computer vision, natural language processing, or any other specialized domain, Understanding those nuances is key to maintaining that long-term performance.
It seems like the world of AI maintenance is just as complex and multifaceted as the field of AI itself.
It really is. It's a continuous journey of learning and adaptation for both the AI and for us, the people who build and manage it.
Well, if our listeners' heads aren't spinning yet, they will be soon. But that's the beauty of a deep dive like this. We're pushing beyond that surface level and really exploring the complexities of making AI work in the long run.
And that's why this AI Model Lifeline report is so valuable. It provides that framework for thinking about these challenges and a roadmap for navigating this ever-evolving world of AI maintenance.
So, listeners, if you're working with AI, or even just considering it, this report is a must-read. It's packed with insights and practical advice to help you avoid those common pitfalls that we've been talking about.
And remember, maintaining your AI, it's not just a technical task.
Hmm.
It really is a strategic imperative that can make or break your entire AI initiative.
Absolutely. It's about moving beyond the hype and the excitement of building AI to the reality of keeping it running smoothly and actually delivering value for the long haul. But let's not get too carried away just yet. The report also introduces a really useful tool for assessing your own AI maturity level.
They're talking about that maturity model, right?
Yeah.
It's such a brilliant way to gauge where your organization stands on the whole spectrum of AI maintenance practices.
Exactly. So listeners, get ready to take a good, hard look in that AI mirror. We're going to break down those maturity levels and help you figure out where you stand. And who knows, maybe you'll find yourselves at the top of the class. Stay with us. All right, we're back, and it's time for some AI truth-telling. We're diving into the maturity model from this report, and listeners, get ready for some honest self-reflection. Where does your organization really fall on the spectrum of AI expertise?
It's a great question. And the report lays out this really clear progression. We start at level 1, which they call reactive maintenance. And honestly, this is where a lot of companies find themselves, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, this is that putting out fires stage, right? You're just reacting to problems as they pop up instead of actually preventing them in the first place.
It's like waiting for your car to completely break down on the side of the road before you even think about getting an oil change.
Oh, yeah, not a good situation. And I bet it creates a ton of stress too, right?
It's definitely not efficient. You're always playing catch up, dealing with these AI emergencies, losing valuable time and resources.
So how do companies break free from this reactive cycle? How do they level up their AI game?
Well, the next step up that the report talks about is level 2, and this is proactive monitoring.
Okay.
This is where companies start to get a bit more strategic. They actually put systems in place to track the performance of their AI, setting up those early warning systems.
All right.
So they can detect those potential issues before they spiral into these major problems.
So like installing smoke detectors in your AI house, you might still have a fire, but at least you'll have a heads up before the whole place burns down.
Exactly. You're going from reacting to actually being proactive. You're anticipating those problems and taking steps to, head them off at the pass.
I like it. It's a big step forward in terms of maturity for sure. So what does level 3 look like? What happens when companies really start to master this?
Level 3 is where it gets really interesting. The report calls this systematic maintenance. And it's all about having those robust processes and procedures, really managing your AI effectively.
So it's not just about, having the tools, it's about knowing how to actually use them consistently and making sure they're really working for you.
Precisely. You've got clear documentation, standardized workflows, maybe even some automation sprinkled in there to really streamline those more tedious, repetitive tasks. You're not just winging it anymore. You've got a system.
A system. Okay, I'm liking the sound of this. So you've gone from reacting to problems, then to proactively monitoring them. And now at this level, you've built a whole system to keep things running smoothly. So where do we go from there? What's next?
Well, the next 2 levels, this is where it gets even more exciting, and they're often kind of intertwined. So level 4, this is all about automated optimization.
We touched on this a bit earlier, right? The idea that your AI is learning and actually improving itself over time.
Exactly. This is where you start to leverage those more advanced techniques, things like AutoML, reinforcement learning, and you're giving your AI that power to self-tune and adjust and just continuously optimize its own performance.
Okay, so it's like having a self-driving car that can also upgrade its own software and even fix its own engine.
It's powerful stuff.
Kind of amazing, and also maybe a little bit unsettling.
It does require a pretty high level of trust in your AI.
Yeah.
But the potential benefits, I mean, those are absolutely massive. Imagine an AI that can adapt to changing data, new trends, and can even like identify and fix its own errors. It's a whole other level.
It would free up those human data scientists to focus on those bigger picture problems.
Absolutely.
So what's the final level then? What's the top of the mountain?
The pinnacle, that's level 5. It's continuous adaptation. And this is where AI becomes this truly self-learning system, constantly monitoring, anticipating changes, and proactively adapting its models and processes to maintain peak performance.
It's like the AI has like developed its own sense of consciousness. It's always pushing itself to be better.
It's a pretty wild concept when you think about it.
Yeah.
And I think it raises all sorts of philosophical and ethical questions. But, from a purely practical standpoint, this represents that ultimate goal of AI maintenance. You've got a system that can essentially manage itself.
So listeners, as you kind of reflect on this maturity model,
Mhm.
where do you think your organization is on this journey? Are you still down there at that reactive level, scrambling to put out fires? Or have you started to embrace a more proactive, systematic approach to AI
Yeah,
maintenance?
and I think even more importantly, where do you want to be?
Yeah.
Because this report isn't just about assessing where you are, it's about setting those ambitious goals. Where do you want your AI to be?
Hmm?
And how are you going to get there?
Wow, this has been an incredibly insightful deep dive. And I feel like we've just scratched the surface of this whole AI maintenance world. But what I'm taking away from this is that AI isn't just about building that cool, flashy technology. It's about the systems, the processes, and really building a culture of excellence. That's what makes sure that these AI systems can actually thrive and deliver value over the long term.
I love that. You said it perfectly. It's about moving beyond the hype and really focusing on that maybe less glamorous, but totally essential work of keeping those AI engines running, not just for today, but for years to come.
It's about building for the future, not just for the launch date. So, listeners, as you dig into this AI Model Lifeline report, take these maturity levels to heart. Use them as a guide, a benchmark, and an inspiration to really push your AI initiatives to new heights. And who knows, maybe one day we'll all be living in a world where AI is so advanced it manages itself, and that would free us up to focus on those even bigger, more creative human challenges. Until then, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep asking those great questions.